Well, good morning, everybody, for Monday, the 19th of April, 1 week on since we started instructing. So, synoptic picture for today. I was retrieving a baby grob last night, which had landed out in one of Andrew Lloyd Webber's fields. A very good effort by Sam Cool, doing 280 kilometres out of 300 in the blue, which I think was a really good effort, considering it's only April. So we're still in sort of slack winds at the moment, with sort of the wind direction being any way you want it. Out to the west, sort of a battle zone with all of these fronts. Some troughs just off the coast into sort of the Netherlands and into Belgium. And over the next few days, as you can see, these fronts try to make an impact. And maybe, depending on the timing of that front, on Wednesday, we start to see some better conditions later in the week again. But still fairly reasonable for what this time of year. And certainly we've had a fantastic run of weather for April. Not quite as warm as it would have been last year. But yes, so yeah, reasonable, I'd say. Light winds and nothing too much in the way of significant weather. Looking at this chart, visibility, well, we're sort of in sort of high pressure here, so sort of 20 to 25 kilometers, not absolutely sparkling, but freezing level going up again between 4,500 to 6,000 feet, very dizzy heights that is compared to the last couple of weeks where it was almost at the ground level. Nothing significant on there, and the winds, as I said, any direction you want. This is picking up again a very slight easterly, if not slight southerly, at midday. So I would say probably on the ground, light and variable. And we're going to go for westerly preference again today. Satellite picture. Well, we had some very pretty fog this morning as I looked out of the window from Medstead down into the valley, and certainly it was very foggy indeed as we went down towards the crossroads at Bentworth and Lasham. But as we came up the hill, it all cleared back up again, and that fog is quickly burning back. But you can see sort of the frontal areas out to the west and over Ireland, and some sort of lower level fog out into East Anglia, but into our task area up to the north and around the horizon, looking fairly reasonable. Top temperature on the Mets today, about 13 degrees. We can see winds light and variable, somewhat easterly, but coming round to a southerly. That might be indication there might be a sea breeze, maybe. Top temperature on here, said maybe 14 degrees, and a dew point of the low single figures. Larkhill sounding shows it was very moist down at the surface this morning, but with that, a temperature of about 10 degrees will bring us some convection, and sort of 12, 13, 14 degrees brings us good convection up to around 3,500 to 4,000 feet with some cumulus, hopefully. The top temperature at Lasham at the moment is 7 degrees, dew point 5, and that is the picture outside. No grid as of yet. The latest forecast and observation from Farnborough is 7,000 metres in variable winds, and again, sort of 2-knot winds from the east. And David's forecast, which he updated last night, again, winds light and variable, and soarable by lunchtime, and his famous cold air evection. So yeah, fairly good around lunchtime. And then he's saying it might cut off a little bit early. Haven't seen that in every model, but willing to take the advice there. So yeah, it'd be nice if you are back not too late, because it certainly was a late night for me yesterday getting that as to no landouts, please. Looking at the PFD. PFD is showing very good into Wales, actually. Not quite so good to our west this time. Reasonably good out to sort of the north, maybe down to the east at Farnborough again in that nice little green zone. That's sort of centred on where cumulus is. So 11 o'clock, probably blue to shallow Q up to, well, maybe 3,000 feet above sight. By about lunchtime, 1, 2 o'clock, we're looking at sort of convection up to with reasonable cumulus up to maybe sort of 3,500, 4,000 feet. Later in the day, still reasonable cumulus, maybe a little bit sort of more too much to our west, looking at cloud base of probably 5,000 feet. Better up towards sort of Shropshire and the lower Welsh hills, and looking there potentially cloud base of 6,000 feet with a bit of blue intermixed. This shows a cut-off early, potentially by sea air. As I say, I need to read into that a bit more. I've not had the time this morning to properly look into it. But yeah, I'd say if you're back by sort of 5 or so, you're probably in a good position, still remaining quite storable into Oxfordshire until a little bit later. But it all cuts off unless you're up in Leeds. Soundings. We're looking at Fairford here at 1 o'clock. Cumulus sort of 4,000 feet, reasonable convection, and a nice inversion just to stop that cloud from building any further. And Buckingham at 1 o'clock. Similar, maybe a tad lower, with a little bit more cumulus. Not so much in the way of top cover today. Those fronts have got away. Okay, airspace. Solent active all day today, I'm afraid. They're active between 8 and 6:15 today, so they are accommodating transits, so give it a go. Fairford active all day. Little Rissington, unfortunately, they are very active with what they do at the moment. From 9 till 3, a cone, surface to 3,000 feet, 3 nautical miles, 6 nautical miles from 3,000 to 6,000. 6,000 feet to 9,000, 9 nautical miles, and 12 nautical miles at 9,000 to 12,000. I don't think it'll be up there. It's been sort of Hercules A400M, the Air Force has been using to do that. If you're in that area, just give Bry's radar a call, and maybe you might be able to get some information on what's going on there. They'll at least be able to give you some information where the airplane is. No danger area crossing service available at Salisbury still. I think the danger areas are fairly active this week, it looks like. And 18, I think, is the Herter. I'll just check that. Somebody keeps notamming that. Yes, it is. And other than that, nothing else particularly. I'll just check that I have not had any more notifications of jet movements. My understanding at the moment was that there are none. So yes, there are no jet movements at the moment. Today, westerly preference again. So just be very aware that at times we do pick up a tailwind. Not enough to make me change, but you might need to have 1 or 2 minutes waiting for the thermal to pass through. So think about that very carefully. If we were on 09, probably the same thing would happen. So it's much better to launch away from the trees than at the trees. If there's a chance that the wind is going to continue going around to the east and I see a trend, then we may consider a change. But looking at sort of in the late afternoon, evening, it's going to switch back to westerly. So let's try and hold it out on 27 if we can. Be aware, obviously you're not going to get that high on the winch today. People are averaging about 1,200 foot today, but as I say, it's much easier to go to the west than it is to the east in these conditions. Restaurants all nice and open, hands, face, space, and let in some fresh air. Other than that, the bar is open later. And if I don't see you today, I'm sure I will see you later in the week. Bye for now.